Hello, friends, taxpayers, YouTube. I am happy to be with you. I am testing out some new gear. I've got a nice camera that I'm practicing staring into. I've got a microphone and a light here. And yeah, trying to legitimize myself, share some information that may pertain to you as taxpayers. More specifically, today I want to talk to prospective tax professionals, accounting professionals. I have been fortunate enough to have a lot of conversations recently with fellow tax pros, accounting professionals, and I want to just kind of shed some light on what many of us are talking about. Main point of conversation is I think we need more accounting professionals. I am starting to find not many people are getting into this industry. All of us that are already in the industry are as busy as we've ever been. And what makes it strange is there's not a lot of people coming into the field. It's quite strange because we seem to be in some sort of crisis when it comes to our financial well-being. Some people are having trouble finding work and keeping work. This industry I found is very rewarding. For some reason, many people think it's not the sexiest, if you will. Might be boring to some on a surface level. But once you get into the weeds of it, once you apply it to the real world, it's really a very rewarding line of work. We're talking about people's financial well-being. So if you can assist in that realm, you are greatly appreciated in this world. Not discounting anyone else's profession, but I'm just finding that a lot of people might be having difficulty setting a career path, and it's interesting when there are many career paths that can really support you for the rest of your life, this one included. We're talking about desk work here, so it doesn't require, physical labor and your body moving year after year. In addition to that, frankly, like I started with, there's just a shortage of people coming into the field. I spoke to an office in the area who has a scholarship available to anyone entering into the world of accounting after graduating high school. The last 2 years, not one graduate has gone on to pursue an accounting career, an accounting degree. So it's quite interesting. I'm speaking on behalf of where I'm at in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I came from Huntington Beach, Irvine, Newport Beach, California, that area of the world. And kind of a similar thing I saw there. Many people that pursue a career in accounting typically think, I have to go work for the Big Four. I'm going to pursue my CPA, get tested, and go work at the Big Four. Or others will choose other big businesses that require that CPA. But on a less strenuous level, there is a lot of work to be done in the realm of accounting that does not require a CPA certificate. I've mentioned before, I am an enrolled agent. My focus is tax, but and to get that credential, I had to take 3 tests with IRS. They were not exactly easy. But aside from the EA or the CPA, there does seem to be a lot of work in the world of accounting and taxation. Again, I wanted to make this video because I struggle to find peers in the industry. I struggle when I notice there's not a lot of young people getting into it. It's kind of strange. I know there definitely is younger people getting into it, but young, old, doesn't really matter where you're at in life. There's a lot of need for professionals like us. In 2020, we saw all the stimulus payments brought about by COVID. That also made business tax returns a lot more complex, and it caused individuals and businesses to rely a lot more on the professionals they're working with, aka people like myself that are the tax preparers, consultants, whatever you want to call us, working in the world of tax. The reality is not many of us have the resources to call, say, our financial advisor, our bookkeeper, our tax accountant, our trust attorney, et cetera, et cetera. So most people, forgive me for this term, the common person really just has to file an annual tax return. And oftentimes they don't put a lot more thought into, well, what else do I need to do to keep up with my financial well-being, my family's financial well-being? Of course, others do have some investment advisors they work with. Depending on the business they're in, they might have a bookkeeper, whatever it might be. But going back to it, everyone needs to talk to an accountant if they are getting their taxes prepared by someone else throughout the year. Of course, a lot of people do use TurboTax, TaxAct, the do-it-yourself products, and those products are now offering a service where you can work directly with a professional while you're completing the return on your own. Or TaxAct and TurboTax also have products available where you can just go through the website and work directly with a tax professional, one such as myself. Just stepping back, I work with the same taxpayers year after year, whereas those do-it-yourself products, you might call in or you might register with TurboTax or TaxAct and see, okay, great, I'm working with Bill this year. The next year, Bill might not be there, and now you got to work with Sally, whoever it might be. So that's kind of how the hybrid do-it-yourself products are working nowadays, but they are available. To me, it's just a sign of the times. They recognize people do need help. They do need to fall back on someone, and the basic descriptions, the basic Q&A on a lot of the websites just aren't sufficient enough. Let's see. Yeah, so I mean, I really like the field that I'm in because I can offer a lot of value to my clients. It's pretty rewarding when someone comes to you with a frantic question and you can just sit with them, hold their hand, and see that they've reached clarity on the other side of that conversation. A lot of the times, I mean, myself included, it just helps having someone else to bounce ideas off of. Little questions are not so little when it comes to our money. If you're going down the wrong path and fail to correct, I mean, it could really result in heavy financial consequences. So, again, I think tax professionals and accountants are very much in need right now. I've got some peers that may struggle to find work or stay fulfilled in certain industries, and that's why I wanted to share this, because I'm not going to say my job is easy, but it is fulfilling work for sure. It's not always fun, but it really is rewarding when you can offer someone the help and guidance they need and see them benefit because of it. And truthfully, I mean, I wanted to share this video because I think that there's true need for a PSA here. We don't have enough people getting into the field, and we are going to need it. I have an abundance of work. I just find that is a common theme when talking to other tax professionals. Most people are closing their doors to new clients. I think this is all working for now. I'm not sure what newsletter this is or what publication it is, but I've talked to a few different people that have given me the same quote in this last week, and that is that I think 75% of accountants are slated to retire in the next 10 to 15 years. That means that we're going to be down to, 3 out of every 4 accountants are no longer going to be in the industry in 10 years, 15 years. So that's kind of concerning. Not necessarily for me, that just truthfully means more opportunity, but it probably also means that my job's going to be a little more complicated or a little more challenging because there's going to be more clients available that I just simply can't help. In this industry, there are some that just focus on doing the maximum number of returns. They focus on quantity, not so much quality. That model does work for a lot, but the way I work, I like to keep my clients for years and years and years, and you can't half-ass this work. It's you got to always have high quality work, because otherwise it's going to result in extra work in the back end. If you screw something up today, you're going to have to answer to it years down the road. So yeah, I think there's a balance between number of returns and quality. Of course, you can't compromise on quality, but you definitely can compromise on how many clients you take in. Something's got to give, and don't let it be the quality of your work. So just to give you an idea of what I might encourage one do to get into the industry, simply start by getting curious. Like I said, I'm an enrolled agent. Uh, Look into that credential, see if it's something that might interest you. As an enrolled agent, I can talk to the IRS on my client's behalf. In addition, I could also talk to all 50 states and their tax boards on my client's behalf. That just requires I get a signed power of attorney, and from there I can have the conversation for you. Each state is different when it comes to what one must have to be credentialed and able to offer the service. I'll just talk on California's behalf because that's where I started. You need to start by getting a PTIN. That's your prepared tax ID number. In addition to that, you need to have your CTEC, which basically allows you to sign and file returns in California. Now, each state is different, but that's kind of the idea. With the enrolled agent title, with the CPA title, you can work on all 50 state returns and file as well. Like I mentioned with the enrolled agent, if I request a power of attorney and have that signed from a client, I can talk on their behalf. Some states don't always require that you have an enrolled agent to talk on your client's behalf. Depending on the state you're in, I've had this conversation with other California accountants. If they're the ones signing the return and not necessarily an enrolled agent or CPA, a lot of the times they can still talk on client's behalf. So it just depends on how limited you are based off the state you're in, I guess. But when it comes to enrolled the IRS, you need to have your EA or the CPA in order to talk on your client's behalf. Going back to where I started, I took a course that I took a pretty intensive course. I'm glad I did because this stuff is hard. You got to really drill into the tax returns, the Form 1040. You got to really understand what you're doing prior to working with clients. It's not wise just to throw yourself into it and learn on the fly. You got to have a pretty good knowledge base before you get started. But a good place to start is if you're already one that files your own return. That's excellent. Just exhaust the process of filing your own return. Understand what each line item on the return means. Another thing to do is just practice with the paper copies of these forms. Like the Form 1040 is available via PDF on the IRS website. You can learn a lot just from understanding the form there. And, if I'm a very black and white person, I like things to make sense. Math is one of those things that has to make sense. The Form 1040 has to all add up and jive at the end of the day. There might be some gray area in this business, which is another reason why I like it. But if you're a very black and white person, rules-oriented person, this line of work is nice because everything must be consistent, everything must add up at the end of the day. So like I said, I started with a 3-day a week, 3 hours each night for I think 12 weeks. That was a good program just because I learned a lot. But really, you can do a lot of self-study courses and still end up with your PTIN and your CTEC or whatever the state credential is. But the enrolled agent or the CPA, that's the big enchilada, if you will. That's what you want to go for if you're seriously going to stay in this field, as that will allow you to never be limited when it comes to helping your clients. A lot of times people can do this line of work on their own, think about it as a side job, something in addition to what they already do, maybe a nights and weekends project. A lot of people that I've talked to over the years, they started by just doing their own returns, their siblings, their parents, and then they realize, oh, this is something I like doing, and I can charge $250, $350, $1,000 per return, depending on the type of client and the amount of work required there. I like self-employment for that reason. I think there's a good balance of both. If you're one that wants to carve out your own path, this is a nice field where you don't require a bunch of startup costs. In addition to, one thing I found as well when talking to some of these companies, Intuit, for instance, Intuit has a whole suite of products, but specifically QuickBooks. QuickBooks is a bookkeeping software. QuickBooks is offered for free to accounting professionals. I mean, I think that's pretty excellent that Intuit did that. They understand this is kind of a difficult line of work to get into, but they do understand if we sponsor, if we kind of assist the accountants, they will in fact use it for their clients. So of course they have a motive, but of course I love that they offer that. Same thing with one of the softwares I use, Pro Series. They offer a download now, pay later when it's filing season. So that's another thing that you can do to get started. It's the off season, you can understand the product, then come tax season you can file a few returns, and then basically download now, pay later program, which is kind of nice for anyone starting their own business. What else can I talk about? I just think it's a very rewarding field. I've talked to a lot of people recently just about accounting jobs, tax jobs. I just kind of wanted to share that a lot of us are seeing the same thing. There's not a lot of people getting into this industry. I say young people because that's typically the most common person to enter the workforce, but of course, it doesn't matter where you're at as far as age. If you're savvy enough to use a computer, you like working with others, you like math, this is a great industry for you. My grandfather did this well through his 70s, my grandmother as well. It's rewarding work. It's not super strenuous on the body. Sitting at a desk sucks when you're doing it 60, 70, 80 hours a week during tax season, but unless you're with one of the big four as a CPA, you're not working 80 hours a week all year long. You're just doing it during the busy season. I don't have much more to share. Wanted to basically test out this camera, microphone, light. Hopefully it looks okay. I'm in my new office here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I did relocate just for a lot of different reasons, but my wife and I are happy here. We are establishing roots here for the time being. Again, if there's anything I can answer as far as how would one enter their career in taxation or accounting, I'd love to help. I really mean this when I say I'm passionate about this business. I love what I do. I love helping people. And if there's more of us that can assist others, that sounds great to me. I mean, there's plenty of work to go around. Depending on the industry you're in, that's not always the case. You're kind of fighting with neighbors for work, but when it comes to the world of tax, look around. If you're an American, as long as you're not, if you're an American, everyone you look at's a taxpayer, even the retired people, which is terrible. I've got my own opinions on that. Aside from children and those with no income, everyone's an income taxpayer in this country. Hell, even some children have to pay tax depending on where they're at. So my point in saying that, plenty of taxpayers that need your help, plenty of businesses that may need your help. I really, think it's pretty impressive when an individual or a business has full reins on their tax and financial life, and they're able to file their own returns. But that's not always the case. Again, plenty of work to go around. With the business clients I work with, I always applaud them for being able to do the tax returns themselves, but I let them know once they start working with me, I want you to focus on building your business, perfecting your product, innovating, and just focus on maximizing profit. Let me, as the tax accountant, kind of handle everything behind the scenes. If there's ever something I can't answer, if it's out of my realm, no problem, I'll let you know where to go next. But at least I can have a good understanding of what the numbers look like on an annual basis, so I can help you build year after year. We make sure you stay in compliance, and just ultimately just make sure you can focus on building your business while we take care of the paperwork behind the scenes. There's a lot more to it than just the tax preparation. There's payroll. I mentioned bookkeeping. One might have to deal with an audit. Again, if you're an enrolled agent or CPA, you can handle that kind of thing. One might require internal auditing, external auditing, so they'll have to hire out for a CPA. With the last few years of COVID, there's PPP loans, there's employee retention credits, research and development credits. A lot of the times people will focus on those. They'll be experts in those fields, but as a tax professional, we can at least start the process, help our clients move in the right direction, or see if they even qualify for some of these programs. Anyways, I can go on and on. The job is difficult. It's a lot of fun. It's complex. It's the same, but not always the same. There's a good mix of everything here. And ultimately, there's a shortage, I think. The job's gotten harder. Hell, if you're interested, contact IRS or your state boards. IRS is short-staffed for sure. I don't know what their hiring process looks like right now, but I do know they can use more resources. So yeah, if you don't want to do this on your own and join the dark side, just kidding. Seriously, just kidding. But yeah, you can probably reach out to IRS and find employment. But yeah, if you'd like to work more closely with the individuals rather than tax entities, there is a ton of work to go around on either side. We're all in this together. Government wants their money so they can keep the country nice, and we want to file these returns and keep our clients in good standing so they can sleep well at night. Anyways, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. I hope the sound goes through and you can see me the whole time. Yeah, appreciate you. Be nice to one another. Happy tax paying. Goodbye.